Now with ChatGPT creating images, which is better? Is it gonna be MidJourney for designers especially, or ChatGPT, or even for any other user? And the answer is quite complicated because like both of them has his own strengths and weaknesses in some scenarios. And that's what we're gonna discover in this video. So stay tuned and let's see what's the difference in there. So here's, for instance, I'm gonna start with a very exciting scenario or use case. So here in Twitter, we have Salma created that image using ChatGPT, which is really cool and very creative. So you can see the level we're talking about right now, especially if you are a creative designer or a creative user. And here, as you can tell, she's used 4O model to create that one for a keratin hair product for the hair. And also she has included the reference and prompt to that design. So she uploaded these images to ChatGPT along with that prompt to create that design. However, there is a catch in here. Salma is also selling text prompts to brands, creative brands and stuff like that. So what if she uploaded that image without the text prompt? Can we extract the text prompt from that image? And that's exactly what I did. Actually, I downloaded that image and I started experimenting in ChatGPT. So here in ChatGPT, I uploaded that image and I asked model O3 by ChatGPT, what is the prompt for creating a similar image like this one? And it gave me that text prompt and I started copying that one and I gave it to ChatGPT using 4O model like so, and it gave me that result. I didn't use Salma's prompt in that case, which is something cool that you can reverse engineer any image that you see online. It's not about her own case. I really like the design. I really like the idea in there. It's so creative. However, in that scenario, I didn't give ChatGPT any reference images except the original design, which you can find online for any other design. And I asked ChatGPT to create the text prompt for me as well. So it came up with a very close result. If you pay a close attention, we have almost the same visuals in there. Maybe in your vision, you might like even ChatGPT's version slightly better. I don't know, man. Then from here, you can take that one to Photoshop, use something like generative fill tool, AI tool in there, which is gonna use a one click to remove that bottle and place your own product's image in there, even Canva or anything like that. Or even you can ask a ChatGPT to remove the product and the text, if you will. So remember that because we're gonna do that as well in MidJourney, okay? So here's MidJourney, and as you can tell, I asked ChatGPT to give me the text prompt for MidJourney as well, or maybe I use the same text prompt, but you can ask ChatGPT to create text prompt for MidJourney, okay, which model and stuff like that, and it's gonna give you a detailed prompt. So actually, in the first trial, without using the image uploaded in here, so you can remember you can drag and drop images in your prompting area, if you will, in the image prompt or style reference, and that will help MidJourney to go in some certain direction. So here at the first trial, I used text only, and it gave me these results. I didn't really like them. Maybe that was cooler one, and I started placing the image first in style reference, then as a prompt. Okay, so I really liked these results as style reference. They look they look really nice and exaggerated, and maybe even they might look a little bit more natural. This is of course subjective, so you can decide yourself if you like MidJourney's version or ChatGPT version in here. That's totally up to you. However, that's what we got from using these two tools. That's our beginning part in that video, okay? So remember that you can come up with very creative ad using ChatGPT and MidJourney like that. So also if we go back to ChatGPT, I started using another image. From the internet, you can search for creative ads, something like that. Then you can download any image. We're gonna see that example in a second. Then you can ask it to give you a prompt for a similar image using O3, or you can ask it to directly create a similar image. And it created that one for me. Not as beautiful as the original one in here. You can see we have, this part looks way better, but it's a start. You can use it. You have a great photo manipulation start in there. And even I tried that one on another creative ad. without any reference image. I asked it to change that instead of Tabasco, use Endofood. It used Endomy, which is a different brand, but you get the idea. It did a clean work, except it didn't get the brand, which is fine for now. But hopefully you can see where we're heading. We can come up with creative visuals easily like that. Of course, we need to refine them slightly in Photoshop, in my opinion, to get a very clean result, but that's what we have. Then, of course, the trend we have for these action figures, I created that one with a simple text prompt like that, make Al Pacino action figure with relevant accessories, and I created that one. And this is a side information for you guys. If you would like to animate any of your created images, maybe even that one, it doesn't have to be an action figure. You can hit either to Kling AI, which is really cool. I created that one. You get free credits in there. And what's really cool about that video is that you have so many free alternative. You don't have to use MidJourney if you don't want to use it or you want to save some money. However, in my opinion, it still excels in some points, and that's what we're going to discover in a second. So that's one way, a male hand checking the action figure, and I tried that one in Runway ML, the link in there, ml.com, and yeah, it's doing a different animation, basically with free credits as well. Okay, so anyway, let's go back to our topic. But I thought that's cool as well if you wanna animate any of your videos. Now we have a decent AI video animation as well, using maybe Kling. Kling is the top right now, but it's quite expensive with its current model if you're gonna do heavy animation. However, I think with the free credit you can do some nice stuff as well. So now let's dive deeper into that comparison between ChatGPT or Sora, because like Sora is ChatGPT's tool to create videos and images, so you can access that one by clicking on left side on Sora, or you can type sora.chatgpt.com to access their website, and then you can explore the images from here, or even you can create images or videos. However, let's go back to my media, what I created in there. So first of all, that's an ad for KitKat, and that was a remix by someone who created that image. Of course, there was no KitKat in the original image, but I thought of making this one as a commercial ad to see where we get. And you can clearly see we have weird hand transplanted in there. The visuals are cool, the text is nice, and that's one thing about the comparison. Still, MidJourney lacks when it comes to creating clean text. It's still struggling with that one. Also, it's still struggling with hands. When it comes to ChatGPT, it's doing way better. If you wanna get clean hands, you can use ideogram.com as well. They are doing better in that aspect. So let's move on. That's the action figure we just checked. That's from another video for creating design elements or stationery. You can see we do have some flows in there. But yeah, MidJourney, we kept enhancing that one to get even better results. We have a dedicated video covering how we did entire branding using AI workflow. Highly recommended to check that one. And then here, where we start our one-to-one comparison between ChatGPT and MidJourney. So when you want to start model version 7 in MidJourney, you need to do some model training. You need to clearly select between about 200 images. It takes about 5 minutes to be able to use the model. And once you do that, you will be able to use version 7, and also you will get that personalize button in there. So you can click that one to create images according to your own taste. And however, the catch in here is that I used some of these suggested images with their own prompt to create them as well in ChatGPT, especially the commercial part or the design part, to save time, and also because ChatGPT will be creating a single image every time, so it's going to take time. So I wanted to speed the process a bit. So let's go back. Let's disable this one. By the way, when I created these images, I didn't use the personalize to have the raw model for comparison. So let's get back to Sora and my notes, because like I have that in notes. That's the prompt for that image that was created by MidJourney. Probably you're gonna see the same image when you are being trained on version 7. And that's what we got from MidJourney. Aesthetically pleasing image, not specifically a logo, if you will. And that's what we got from ChatGPT. Okay, moving on, we had that one in ChatGPT, and you can clearly see the difference in here. And that's the prompt was like a giant angry snail destroying a city like Godzilla. You can see the difference. That's what MidJourney did. This is what ChatGPT did. Quite funny, that snail. And aesthetically pleasing, yeah, of course, MidJourney will win in that one. Okay, I created that one even again to give Sora a chance, but no way, still MidJourney wins, as you can tell. And that's one point when it comes to comparison as well. We've talked about the text and hands, and that's one major point when it comes to that comparison, is that MidJourney usually creates more aesthetically pleasing designs. It really cares about the aesthetics, even if it doesn't care about like the text, which I can do in Photoshop. It doesn't care about prompt adherence in so many cases. So for instance, you can type a complex prompt and MidJourney will be skipping some parts of that prompt. Usually ChatGPT is way better when it comes to prompt adherence. However, I think I can keep interrogating, if you will, MidJourney to get something beautiful, then adjusted maybe in Photoshop with minor tweaks to get something ready for the client. However, in ChatGPT, that's not always the case. However, let's keep moving on because ChatGPT will win as well in some scenarios. So stay tuned, guys. You're gonna see that one. Here's another prompt, a simple one actually by MidJourney that's created in Sora or ChatGPT. I like the statics in there. And also ChatGPT gave me which one? I had to copy them in that node because like I didn't want to take forever to create that video, guys. However, as you can tell, it created that one for me, but like it has another option of a UI for a website. So I think both are doing great when it comes to commercial designing like that. Then here's another design. That was a creative design that I really liked online, and I searched, I copied the ad and gave it to ChatGPT. So let's search for that one. So here is the original ad. That's a hair supplement and it's very cool. Imagine you want to do that in Photoshop. It really requires a skill. So I thought of replicating that one using AI. So I uploaded that one and I asked O3 model to give me a text prompt to create a similar image in ChatGPT. Then it gave me something for ChatGPT like that. That's a prompt in here. And with some explanation and text and stuff like that. Then I started copying that and pasting that one in here. It gave me a very decent result. Still, it's not perfect. You can see we have the missing hand. Still the original design made by the human, because that's a very old design, by the way, is way better. However, you can crop the image and you can have a nice start. So maybe you can crop it till here and get a similar visual. Then you can do maybe a Gen AI in Photoshop or something like that. So eventually you can get a nice design. However, it's not a biceps in that case. It's like try biceps because like we have 3 heads in here. However, in the original design, that looks more of biceps. However, yeah, but it looks even better. I think this one looks better. However, when we go to MidJourney, it really lagged in this one for some reason. And I've been trying that design for a while on MidJourney. It doesn't create a similar cool ad. That's a Coca-Cola one. We'll see a similar one in ChatGPT. The winner was MidJourney. However, for the hair, it didn't get close to the original ad. However, I didn't upload the ad in the text prompt, as you can see. So maybe that's a reason. Then we have another creative ad as well. I started Googling for creative ads. I liked that one. I wanted to test that one out. This is an enlarged one for Samsung. As you can tell, microwave with bigger capacity, defrosting, eyes with mammoth inside. I really like the visuals in there, and it's indeed a creative ad. So I uploaded that one to O3 and I asked it to give me a text prompt to create a similar image in a ChatGPT, and it gave me text prompt. I used it and it gave me a very cool and decent result in my opinion. I asked ChatGPT to create a text prompt for MidJourney. Then I used it in there, and this is what I got from MidJourney. Then I started creating variations out of that one because I thought that was the closest to what I was imagining or to the original ad. And I got these ones in here. Decent, but not like ChatGPT in my opinion. So let's go back to OpenAI. That's what we got in there. And let's get back to MidJourney. I think maybe with some tweaking we can get better results in MidJourney. However, ChatGPT did better job in that one. Let's move to other examples. That was a movie poster and it created for some reason Leonardo DiCaprio as a hero for that one. That was created by MidJourney when the training was happening. I think this one looks way better. Of course, not including the text. You need to fix that one in Photoshop if you're gonna use a similar design. But you have a good start in here. In my opinion, I can't use that one. It looks so cartoonish. Looks like maybe 80s or 90s posters or something like that. Also, the Coca-Cola design, you remember that one was created in MidJourney as well, if you want to check it again. So I think this version looks way better when you compare it to ChatGPT 1 in here. Here are also other use cases for ChatGPT. So for instance, I uploaded that stationery mockup and I asked it to have it on Office. That's what it created for me. Not bad. The original one looks even better. Another attempt in here. Still, I like this one better. The original is the best in my opinion. And I uploaded that product image and I asked it to remove the package from here. It gave me that with distorting the product itself. So I can't really use that one in final design because the logo is destroyed, man. Can you see the difference between the original product, clean one? We have the logo shifted like that and the original logo isn't the same. I tried again. It kept doing the same mistake. Yeah, I don't really think I can use that one for a client yet. I tried to have that one in an ad. I had the same issue with the logo and with the image. For some reason, it wanna mess with the original product. I hoped that it will copy and cut that product and place it in a natural environment or something like that, just like what we do as a designer. We usually get that one in a layer and place it within the environment we're imagining. But yeah, it's not that realistic. I can't really use that one in commercial design like that. If you wanna do photo manipulation, I think you either use defined product like Coca-Cola or something like that, or you get a similar image like that one with a shadow. Then you remove that one in Photoshop using generative fill or something like that, which takes like 2 clicks. Then you place your own product and care for the lighting as well. So that's one way to do it. As you can see, I kept trying with the stationery and also I asked it for a Coca-Cola ad like that. As you can see, we have a very usable can. I don't know if it matches the original one-to-one or not. Maybe you need to check that one. So let's do a quick recap between these AI generative models, especially ChatGPT and MidJourney. Me personally, I still use MidJourney along with ChatGPT because like MidJourney has a huge library. So if you go to that Explore tab, when you are, let's go to MidJourney quickly and let's go to Explore. If you start searching in here for anything, you will find tons of inspiration for you, whether it's a design or anything. Let's type something like Coca-Cola and you will see cool stuff done by other users. And instantly you can tell that you can use that one for an ad or commercial work, even with some minor tweaking. So that's one thing. The other thing is these aesthetics. Still MidJourney wins in my opinion when it comes to aesthetics in so many scenarios. However, as we saw, ChatGPT is doing well in other scenarios, so you can still use ChatGPT in conjunction with that one. When it comes to prompt adherence, ChatGPT wins because I think it's a large language model. It understands text better. I don't know if MidJourney will be advancing in that regard soon or not. We will see. When it comes to hands, MidJourney is lacking in that part along with text generation as well. It doesn't look amazing. But my opinion as a designer, I don't need to have generated text done for me because I need to have some control over my text. So I need to do that in Photoshop or Illustrator, which doesn't take a lot, but I think text need to be controlled. And even if the client needed to do any amendments, I can easily re-edit them in Photoshop. However, if I heavily rely on created designs or images for me with text, I won't have any exit because like the client will be asking to change text or text location or anything like that, I will be struggling to do that without using Photoshop or Illustrator, so keep that in mind. So that was my personal opinion when it comes to using these generative AI tools. Still, you can use open source generative AI tools like Flux on your computer or something like Ideogram along with ChatGPT to save some money if you don't want to use MidJourney. However, still, I think it's a cool asset in your arsenal. And hopefully you like that one. By the way, don't forget to like and subscribe as this really helps the channel. See ya.